the way I like to test logic is like, can you put it in similar scenarios and it still stands, right? I don't think we're designed to stay stagnant as human beings. I think Mistaken made that point. And I guess my curiosity is more so like, why do we opt into it so willingly when it comes to friendships and maintain that relationship, and yet we're not willing to foster that type of relationship within the marriage where someone's given room and understanding to grow and still have that person included in our growth so that they're a participant in it. And instead there's this expectation that you're just going to stay the same, captured in time, when that isn't human nature. I don't know if you can kind of shed some light on that, why one is allowed and one isn't when it comes to relationships.
Because you don't have the same responsibility in your friendship as you do in a marriage. Marriage is, some people will argue, is a duty, and it's a legal binding duty, right? And some people will say it's a spiritual binding duty. You don't have that same responsibility, you don't have that same challenge in your friendships. And I want to also go back to what, you guys were talking about, is why would these guys want to be rappers or ball players, even though the statistics show that more than likely none of them are going to make it? Reason being is because of the enjoyability of it. The reason why people keep having sex, enjoyability. The reason why people keep trying to be rappers or trying to do things that are in the entertainment field, or do things that it's you rarely have a chance of making it. If you ever made a song, you know why people are trying to be rappers. If you ever played football, you hit somebody and they fumble that ball, and you pick that ball up for a touchdown. Like, you understand the energy and excitement that comes from accomplishing these things. When it comes to relationships and marriages, there's usually some form of delayed gratification where it takes a significant amount of investment in order for you to actually get the fruit of it.
Rappers and music is the same thing. When you listen to their story, it's definitely delayed gratification.
Well,
It's not. It's not
that's only for the success story.
He's
But I'm
saying
talking
that the
about,
just actually rapping them, get it off their chest, actually being in the studio is good. But would that not be
That's the
them
same
choose?
work that you're putting in the
Would that
background.
not be them choosing their happy? Because we always talk about happiness. That's you choosing your happiness, right?
I mean, you always people are choosing happiness when they're choosing to leave. That's their reasoning. They're choosing happiness for some people to stay. And the thing is like, it's easy to attach yourself to something tangible that you feel like you can actually do something about. But you don't feel good in your relationship, or you don't feel good about your marriage, you don't feel good about your career, you just don't feel good about life, and then you also have to deal with the life of this other person who you are tied to, who you agreed to be with, right? And then you're adding this for a lifetime. Like, these are things that, if you were to just sit and think about it on the surface, these are things that you see how easy it is. That's the reason why it's a 50% chance of you winning in your marriage. That's why. Because the thing is majority of people don't understand the investment and the work that it takes to maintain that.
Um, you know,
So I love what you said about like the enjoyability aspect of it, right? And I think that's why I was kind of leaning towards the question around friendships, because there seems to be that enjoyability aspect of it. And I understand that there isn't the same obligation behind it, but I've seen in so many friendships people taking on so much that it looks very similar to the obligations that exist within marriage, right? People letting somebody crash with you, giving somebody a handout, coaching them through things, guiding them through certain things. Like, a lot of friendships with substance have very similar components to what they look like in marriages, right? Even in terms of like growth trajectory, you'll see two friends growing in polar opposite trajectories. And because they're looping each other into that process and they enjoy each other's company, no matter how far apart they are in their values and their systems and everything, they still manage to stay connected, right? What I'm seeing time and time again in terms of the marriages that have success and the ones that don't is that enjoyability factor. And that doesn't go just towards men, that goes to the women as well. The people who enjoy being married to their spouse are the ones who don't quit on each other, who aren't harping on happiness, who aren't looking at the dopamine hits and the Instagram photos, right? The ones who truly enjoy each other's company, those are the ones who are fortunate enough to have the opportunity to grow old together, to spend an actual lifetime together. And I think the more we pushed for like choosing somebody you genuinely rock with and let like you two fit together, I think it would be a really big game changer on what those statistics look like. But because we push duty so much and we push obligation so much and we push family so much and how to vet and how to do, we've sucked all of the fun out of two people being together with the exception of sex. And I back to going back to Shane's question now in the very beginning, I think really that's the thing that's created such a terrible environment for marriage right now, right? Is the fact that we've managed to suck all of the enjoyability out of two people being together or multiple people being together and dwindled it down to the only fun you get to have is sex. There's no more non-sexual intimacy. There's no more just being able to kick it in silence. There's no more like doing stuff together without a dollar bill attached to it. Like just being around your person just doesn't seem as viable anymore until you talk to a Marcus, until you see Mistaken just hung out with her husband. She can't stop smiling. Like until you get to see more and more of those examples, it just sounds like so much friggin' work all the time. Like a job that you hate going to all the time. I don't know. That's just rambling at this point.
No,
Okay,
I agree with
we
you.
gotta we gotta sum this up. We're this is one.
All
Go
right,
ahead,
move on.
mark your mark, and then
No,
we
move
gonna.
on.
You don't want to say anything? Okay, so we're gonna go
I
back.
want to respond, but I'll let you
No, go
conclude your
ahead.
next point.
Okay, can we make the response really fast? Like sum up some of those little words and put them all in.
Gotcha. Well, first thing I want to say is that largely, Nas, what you're saying, I agree with. But the first thing I want to say is that almost doesn't count. Your friendships, you have to understand that you get to experience their journeys from a distance. You don't have to do that as this person is growing 24/7. As far as you got to live with this person, you got to be able to deal with this person when the times that you don't want to deal with this person, versus when you're in a friendship and they're going through their thing and they're going a different way. They don't have the same entitlement to some of the things that you experience in a marriage, because at the end of the day, you don't belong to them. You don't have a responsibility to them. Now, granted, you make it yourself responsible because of how you care, how you build your relationship. But the reality is, you don't have the same responsibilities or the same ties to this person. And then, as far as the fun, I agree. Fun feels fun. Fun feels great. If you can have fun in your relationship, it's fantastic. A lot of people ain't having fun in their relationships for a multiplicity of reasons. And also, the relationships that are lasting aren't just the fun ones. They're also the ones that are filled with duty. That they're literally like, listen, no matter how I feel about you, I'm gonna make sure that you're all right no matter how I feel. But if we had to choose, a fun relationship is better than a non-fun relationship.
So I just wanted to clarify real quick. I know Marcus wanted to jump in. It's super quick. So I didn't say that the long lasting relationships were the fun relationships. In fact, I think the really, really fun relationships for most people are probably some of the shortest relationships. I said that the people they enjoyed being around their person. That doesn't mean that we're having a great time. But if we're problem solving, we're enjoying problem solving together. If there's an issue, we're enjoying working together. I think enjoyability and fun are two very different things. Just wanted to make that clarification.
And duty and fun don't have to be polarizing opposites. You can have duty and still have fun. I think that's where, depending on who speaks to marriage, and you always say it's a duty it does sound like there is no fun in that. And there is fun. Fun and duty can work together. They can intertwine. You can't just, if you're having fun, it doesn't negate your duty. And if you're focused on your duty, it doesn't negate the fun. You can have both.
And let me just say this. It's important to know that everybody, marriage is not for everybody. If you've tried it and you know it is just not your cup of tea, step away. It is just not, it's just not. I do believe not everybody is meant to be married. Okay, so let's just throw that out there. But people who don't want marriage should mingle together.
I disagree with that. I think that everybody doesn't have the tools to be married, but if they had them, they all could be married potentially, or most people. The
But people
overwhelming
just don't want to.
Well,
Yeah.
mistaken, I will agree with you about duty and fun because whenever I say it's my duty to please that booty, that sounds like a lot of good stuff and a lot of good fun. I get duty and fun at the same time. Sounds great.
That's what Enos was just talking about.
If you getting
It's
duty, you
always
are really in the
relegating
booty.
the
You need to
next part.
move up a little bit. Wrong hole. Okay, so listen. It was a joke, y'all. It's late. It's a Friday night. Get over yourselves. It was just like a little fun joke.
You went in the wrong direction.
He said duty.
You
And
said up.
Lucy.
You got to move down. Move down.
Oh, no, I said you gotta move up because isn't it up?
Well, it all depends on the position.
Not
If you're
down.
hitting it from the behind, it's up or down. But if you're hitting it from missionary, that's a different way. So you
Yeah,
got to understand
missionary.
these nuances. You know what I'm saying? Duty. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about duty. We're talking about duty. You know what I'm saying? Duty.